The family of a local teenager says she never would have left home without calling.
Just praying for the best. I want my daughter home, man. And if she can't come home, I just want to know where she's at.
These posters around the towns of Livermore and Jay beg anyone with information to come forward. Posters that Richard puts up every spring, never losing hope.
Tell me what happened to my daughter. Just look me in the eyes so I can see her.
An arrest in a nearly 4-decade-old cold case. Thanks to cutting-edge DNA technology, the arrest happening exactly 39 years to the day
when Parabon Nanolabs used that sample to create 3D models of the suspected killer's face.
It's heartbreaking. We miss her, and we're going to find her. We're going to keep looking till we do.
It's like a never-ending nightmare. It doesn't end. It keeps returning and coming back.
What if I told you nearly 29% of women and 10% of men in the U.S. have experienced rape, physical violence, and or stalking by a partner?
What if I told you nearly 25% of women and 14% of men over the age of 18 have been the victim of severe physical violence by an intimate partner in their lifetime?
What if I said nearly half of all women and men in the U.S. have experienced psychological aggression by an intimate partner in their lifetime?
Now what if I told you there was an easy way to get the help you need in these situations? What if it was right at your fingertips at all times?
Welcome back to Locating the Lost, Season 1, Episode 5.
I'm Travis.
I'm Jeff, and tonight we'll be doing things a little bit differently. We'll be speaking with Eliza Conley Lapine, the CEO and founder of Safehouse, and Carrie Bowman, the Vice President of Safehouse. We'll let them explain what it is.
So, Carrie and Eliza, right?
Yes. Yes.
And then you're on with Travis and Jeff. So I caught you guys on the 207 the other night.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Very good job.
Thank you.
Were you nervous at all?
I was very nervous.
Well, see, at least we don't have big cameras in your face tonight, so.
Yeah, we're not nearly as professional as a TV setup, so you don't have to be nothing to be nervous about here.
So I guess if you would introduce yourself, tell us your position, and then start describing the application itself and how you came up with the idea.
Okay. My name is Eliza Conley Lapine, and I decided to go to the University of Maine at Augusta and finish my bachelor's degree in justice. And in September of, I think it was 2018, I ended up taking an advocacy class, and my professor asked us to come up with a problem and then pretty much say how we were going to solve it. So I basically said I wanted to, create an app and put all the agencies for domestic and sexual violence into one place, so that way it would be easy to navigate if you're in a crisis situation.
Mm-hmm.
And my first thought was, I'm going to write a paper and I'm going to knock this out of the park. I love to write. I have been writing poetry since middle school, so writing is just a passion of mine. And then I was like, I probably should see if I can just do it. So I went on to Google Play and I checked out app generators, and I found one that wasn't really user friendly. And then I found the one that we're using today, and I just, one agency after another, I was able to go in and very easily add them. So I was like, let me just see if I can get this set up right. Can I get this to look right? Can I get this to function, as what I'm thinking? And then I can show kind of a prototype of, what I would do to solve the problem. And then, so my prototype ended up being, I actually didn't stop for 3 days. And I had a hard time sleeping because I was still going through a lot of the family court stuff, and for most people that know family court, it's difficult, especially if you are a survivor of violence.
So you're the founder, the CEO, and apparently the designer as well.
Yes.
So then who else? We have Carrie on the line here too. Carrie, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. So my name is Dr. Carrie Bowman. I am a pharmacist. I work primarily at the Northern New England Poison Center, and I am a specialist in poison information. So one of the things we do there is we answer calls from home if your child gets into the Tylenol bottle and drinks half of it and you don't know what to do, you give us a call.
Oh.
So.
Very, very useful hotline.
She's a savior.
Yeah.
Yes, so among other things.
I may have talked to her, actually.
You may have. We run the states of Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont. So I work there full time. And I've just always had a heart for helping other people, which is why I got into healthcare in the first place. I've been practicing for over 10 years. And in 2017, I moved up here to Maine and started working for the Poison Center. Really love it up here. And, I met Eliza through our kids' preschool, actually. 2 of our kids went to school together last year. And that's when we met. And it wasn't until after I separated from my husband in June and my own domestic violence journey really got started that we really became good friends. And so when I heard about what she was doing, I wanted to get involved.
So can Eliza, I guess, describe that. How did you start talking to Carrie about this?
She came over she found out that my daughter had gone through the CPR and first aid babysitting course. And so she wanted to talk to me about recruiting her for babysitting, but I had an alternative. And, I had another motive, and it was to recruit her for Safehouse. And we were sitting there at the table, and it was funny. She's kind of, all right, well, let me think about that. And we were talking about Safehouse, and she said, so what is this app really? And so I started explaining the app, and she was telling me what she does at the Poison Control Center. And it was almost like, I honestly want to delegate the credit to Carrie and say that she was like, maybe the Poison Control Center could be on this app. And I was like,
right.
Just together we're like, there needs to be a button for children. And it just kind of went from there. So I made adjustments to, in the back end to put a button for children. So specifically having the Poison Control Center at the top because there's a hotline. And I believe, Carrie, you can kind of talk about how that hotline works.
Yeah, so when you call us, you get triaged to a specialist. We all have training specifically in how to handle poison information. And we keep the cases confidential. So I thought it would be great for women who are in crisis, maybe, dealing with a difficult ex-husband or trying to leave their partner, not wanting to get in trouble, would have someone they could talk to get that information for their children without feeling like they were going to be necessarily reported immediately for calling.
Well, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of surprised that something like that hasn't come along before, honestly. Like consolidating, crisis hotlines all in one, because, there's a lot of different avenues to approach when going for it, but it might be kind of hard to find when you really need it, right?
Yeah, you don't have those resources right at the click of a button, and,
They should be.
They should be.
And they are now.
And they are now.
So it's really like a one-stop shop for, if you have a crisis situation. I believe there's 9 different options to choose from?
Yes.
So it's very easy to read, very easy to navigate. Just click on the thing that pertains to you and then select what state you're in, because you're national now, right?
We're working on the national expansion. Absolutely. Yes.
So I guess, Eliza, this started out as something else, though, right? And then it kind of morphed into adding Carrie's expertise into it. Now, what did it start out as?
Well, it started off as a domestic violence and sexual violence app. I wanted to add the human trafficking piece into it because one of my friends from middle school I found out that she was murdered. She was part of the murders that happened in Long Island, and I think it was 2011.
And what was her name?
Her name was Megan Waterman.
So you grew up with Megan?
We actually met at Happy Wheels in Scarborough.
Everybody met at Happy Wheels, I think.
I know, right? I miss that place. And occasionally we would go to the Portland location, but primarily we were at Scarborough. This is closest. And I remember the first I remember the first day I met her. I still remember, you know, the way she would skate around and just the way she would glow and how bright she was. And she was one of those people that just, she always had your back, you know, and she really taught me what true friendship was, and it meant a lot to me. We grew up in kind of a rough neighborhood, and some girls were actually setting to have me get jumped one day at the playground really close to our house, and Megan called me, and I'll never forget it. She called me and she was like, "Whatever you do, don't go down the playground today. Don't go." And she used to be the one to get in trouble. I was always like the good girl. Everybody knew that. I'm like, don't smoke, and you know, like, but they still hung out with me, so I wasn't the fun one because I was like trying not to get in trouble. And so she was like, she saw me as this like princess that she had to save, and she taught me to be confident. She taught me to be proud of who I was, and she helped me with the self-esteem. Like, she's just like very encouraging, and like just the way she held herself, like being around Megan, like you want to be around her. So at this time she's calling me, and I'm like thinking this is payback for all the times that she's like got me worked up because she's doing something that she shouldn't be. And I was like, guess what? I'm going down to the playground. She's like, no, you can't go. No, they're going to beat you up. And I just hung up on her. And so I called the girls that had been calling. They called me like 32 times. I went down to the playground. Yeah. I went down, and she was right. They were going to have me jumped. And it was like David and Goliath. I just stood in front of her, and I put my arms out wide open. And I said, if you're going to do it, here I am. And she was a lot bigger than me. And she wanted me to hit her first, and I wasn't going to do that. And I just stood right in front of her. She had two friends on either side of her, and all three of them, they're ready to fight me. And I'm just not, that wasn't an interest of mine. And she just looked at me and she's like, you're not worth my time, or something to that effect. And I looked over at my two friends, and the two that had called me to go down there, and I said, I thought we were friends. And then I walked away. And when I was out of sight, I ran all the way home, and I got on the phone with Megan, and she was like, oh my God, what happened? Are you okay? And I was like, yeah, they're not going to bother me anymore.
Good for you.
And so, but the truth of that was, I felt confident because I knew Megan had my back, and that walking down there actually had a notification. Like, I had someone tell me that was what was going to happen. So I felt confident going down there. I wasn't worried. I was prepared. And I honestly, that's the Megan that I remember.
That's awesome. So hearing you tell that story, I think about like bullying in schools, and maybe a potential opportunity for you guys, maybe creating the app set up for children too, to report things and have bullying places to go to learn about bullying and how to handle the situations.
So if you go under the suicide button, there's actually one of the first things listed on the app is, I think it's called bullying prevention, something like that. So it's one of the first options on there. And then for the rest of the button, it's basically suicide prevention, because what's going on, middle school, high school, there's bullying. There's a lot of emotions, a lot of hormones, everything's changing, and a lot of that, from what I've heard and gathered and seen, can and sometimes does lead to suicide. So. Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely not helping things, especially with the spread of social media as large as it's gotten. It's, you know, some people don't think they can even get away from it, right? Because they have their social media in their pocket all day long. So.
Right.
So it's really hard for a lot of people to get away from that sort of stuff.
Yeah, especially today's day and age.
Mm-hmm.
So, with Megan's case, they found her, right? And
they did.
Did they ever catch who may have harmed her?
Honestly, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I don't know the specifics of her case, and I can't really comment too much on it, because it's been really hard for me, and I haven't agreed to really talk about it, and I haven't talked about it since I read the book that came out, and it was it's just been hard
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, it's just someone that I really truly held dearly
Right.
and close to my heart, even though we did go separate ways. We went to different schools, and then I moved to Saco, and she was in Portland, so it was just I stopped going roller skating and she stopped going, so it was just like one of those things that kind of grew up and grew apart. But you know, the other piece of Safehouse is really, we have a candle visual on our website. So our website is yoursaferplace.org, and the reason it's called that is because everybody wants a safer place, and that's truly our goal. And part of that is you know, part of my passion in Safehouse is the fact that I've witnessed so many girls that have been kind of close in proximity to me in school be murdered or have lost their lives. I went to school with Trista Reynolds, so you know, it breaks my heart for her. I used to hang out with Trista. We lived in the same area. I used to dance with Ashley Willette's sister. I went to school with Darian's sister Serena. So these stories actually, and I'm like trying not to cry right now, so you might hear my voice tremble a little bit. Actually,
it's fine. It's fine.
We understand.
Yeah, but so the story is that we're witnessing these things happen all around, and I mean, like, it's within an arm's reach. And at some point, you look and, you know, the families are talking about it, but no one else does. And no one wants to, because it's difficult, it's hard, and no one can change it. And I think I was taking a justice course this last January, and I read this amazing book, and it was talking about murders right on the street and how kids felt when they were in class and how it impacted their education and how the community needed a memorial. And my professor died actually during that semester. He was one of my favorite professors because we were reading really hard stuff, and he always put comics in it, you know, and he always made it light. And it was like right at the point where I was like, I don't think I can handle another case. He would put a joke in there, and I was like, thank God, you know. So it was like, it was definitely, he broke it up, he made it easy and digestible. But this book said, well, sorry, let me pause. When he passed away, I went to the website, and I wanted to give, and I kind of was hesitant to, because I was a student. I didn't know if that would be weird or not, so I didn't. But they had a candle visual, and all of a sudden it was like all that stuff just clicked in me, and I was like, this needs to be a part of Safehouse, and I need to put a candle for all these girls, so that way I can memorialize them, and so that way the community can see that there is, even if there isn't justice in every case, because a lot of these, even as close as they are to home, are still considered cold.
Right.
And so I'm passionate about the online visual, and I want to get more candles on there, and I'm working with a candle company to make candles to memorialize people that are subjected to violence, so that way we can kind of have some healing within our community.
That's really amazing of you to do that, you know, take this project on your own and try to help these families is just incredible.
And that's why I reached out to you guys.
So Carrie, what was your reaction when Eliza first told you about this application?
I was very excited. I was in the middle of the whole legal process, still am. And I was like, wow, that would have been really great for me to have like a couple months ago. And I became pretty determined that I wanted to help her get that into as many hands as possible to try to help other people get to a safe place sooner.
Yeah, that's awesome. Have you, I mean, and I know you touched on your domestic violence situation. So I guess for Jeff and I, obviously we're two males.
Yes.
So we've never lived life as a female. Okay, so I guess what I'm saying is it's pretty awesome to see the two of you helping women feel empowered, find safety, and have the opportunity to reach out and talk to those that they need to talk to help them, I guess.
And we actually have, there are 9 board of directors that are on our board that have similar stories, and it's their thriving story, and what their piece is, their mission in Safehouse is a little bit different. Everybody's piece is a little bit different. The projects that they're working on is a little bit different. And I'm really, like, when I was sitting down with the app, I really didn't imagine where I would be right now and where it's going, and just seeing us all come together. It's so empowering, it's so inspiring, and it's so exciting that I just want to keep on going. I feel like, Carrie, I mean, I can't speak for you, but you see what the board is doing, so what do you think?
I mean, I am just really excited about all of the opportunities that are opening up now that the interview's gone live and that we're getting some attention. I think domestic violence is one of those issues that still just makes people very uncomfortable, and they don't realize how prevalent it really is. And I remember after, if you had asked me a year ago, I wouldn't have told you that I was in a domestic violence situation. I would have told you that I loved someone who was very troubled, and I didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah.
So, I just feel, I don't feel any shame about being in that relationship. And I think a lot of women who, even once they escape, they feel ashamed that they were able to be manipulated and controlled like that, and they don't want to talk about it. But the more I have talked to people, the more I've realized that it truly is 1 in 3 women who have had some kind of experience. And once you tell someone about yours, I can't tell you how many people that I had no idea had this experience all of a sudden were sharing their story with me.
Wow. Yep. Jeez.
Yep.
And well, that's the thing too, right? There's no reason for anyone to feel ashamed for that, because, it's easy. We're humans. It's easy to manipulate a human into thinking stuff that's not true. That maybe some people think they might deserve it, or I know there's a lot of. I guess I don't know really what to say about it, but it happens a lot.
Yeah, I guess what I would say is a lot of people think that it's just physical. In my case, there wasn't any physical at all. It was emotional. It was financial. It was putting fists through walls and taking sledgehammers to walls, and just other levels of intimidation and terrorism. So I know that I don't present as what people think a typical domestic violence abuser looks like. So I'm just determined to get out there and to just help as many other women as I can get out before it's too late.
And that's the thing. It can happen to anyone.
Yeah. It really can.
Yeah.
So you said there's 9 people on your board. Is that the entire company, or is there other people that do things for you as well?
We have a group of volunteers that are working on content gathering right now for the national expansion as well. So
this app, is it, because I'm not going to lie, I don't really know a whole lot about really any of it at this point. It sounds awesome. Is it live right now if people wanted to download it? Awesome. It is. Okay.
Yeah, safehousenational.org.
Safehousenational.org. Fantastic. And that's for Apple and Android?
Apple and Android, and we are not on Google Play or iTunes for consumer privacy.
Okay.
However, our goal and our mission is to make this a free app for anyone. The long-term goal for me, something that I'm passionate about, is making this a mandatory download for phones, and making it as deemed as useful as a calculator, so to speak.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If you can get a phone that has a mandatory NFL app or a Facebook app, why not a crisis app? Honestly, that seems like a much more sensible idea.
Right.
I think it's awesome.
Really.
I played around with it the other day a little bit while I was watching you on 207, and it's pretty easy to use. You're not hunting Google looking for, not only are you not hunting Google trying to figure out where something is, but you're trying to figure out what it's named and what are you typing in that search bar. It's all right there. It's all a couple buttons and you're where you need to be. So I commend you guys for that. Great job.
Thank you. And we had, we actually hit 2003 downloads. We had 1,600 before 207.
Oh, wow. Fantastic.
So that helps you a lot.
And I haven't done a whole lot of publications, so we're just starting to get now that have the board together and we're working on expanding it nationally. I'm working on finishing a grant with MTI and just continuously working on this, on our goals and achieving them all.
Well, I know that our page got you 1 download.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And anytime you guys have updates too, just let us know, and we'll put it out there as well to let people know any of that sort of information.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think what you guys are doing represents what we're trying to do as well, as far as getting the word out there and trying to provide information to people that might need it. So if we can help you, definitely let us know.
I agree. Same goes for you guys. And if anyone out there has lost someone to domestic violence or any type of violence, please feel free to email us at safehousemaine@gmail.com, and we will put a candle up.
That's awesome.
That's fantastic.
So can you go ahead and tell us your .org page as well as the app download page as well again?
Yes. So our website is yoursaferplace.org, and that just has all of our information about us and our website, and it has the online visual. It starts with Maine, but it's not limited to Maine. We really want to expand that visual to be a national visual. And our app you can find at safehousenational.org.
Awesome. Do you guys have anything else you want to, communicate?
The one thing that I will add is we also are running a Facebook page for Safe House Maine, and yes, the board of directors, this is a more positive note, the board of directors puts positive content on there, things that inspire us on a pretty much daily basis. So
the other thing that I really want to say is that if you're in a domestic violence situation, one thing that, or when I was in a domestic violence situation, what I realized is that I ended up loving this person more than I loved myself. And it really, that's really hard to understand. Like, how can you love someone that you would sacrifice yourself to make them happy? And it didn't matter what I tried. I mean, I tried to do everything, and I felt like it was never enough. And when it got so bad that I actually couldn't cover up, he had a pit bull maul me. I couldn't cover it up. And we were getting ready to go to a Christmas party, and this dress saved my life, because in that moment I thought about wearing that dress, and I realized I'm not going to be able to hide this. And I realized what I was saying to myself. I've always been a feminist. I've always spoken on empowerment and inspiration, and I realized I'm doing it. How did I get here? And backtracking, I had to analyze my psychology and see what I was doing and how I was broken down. And part of that was I needed to love myself. And I needed to see that I was worthy enough, and that his perspective of me wasn't correct, and that I didn't need to associate with someone with such a negative perspective of me. And being around people that actually love me, that actually feed positivity, those are the people that I need to have around me. And so our slogan is, love you because we do. Mm-hmm. You're enough.
That's nice.
That's really good. If you guys have any other ideas as far as posters or whatever, you can shoot them off to me and I can do more for you. Anything we can do to help.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you both. Have a wonderful night.
Yes, thanks for having us. Thanks.
Yeah. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
We here at Locating the Lost would like to remind everyone, if you see something, say something. It's up to us to protect each other.
Thanks for listening.
5-year-old Taylor Williams led investigators to Alabama this week.
So we have some breaking news from Florida. An arrest has been made in connection.
After years of agony, a glimmer of hope for the family.
Investigators spent hours searching through this house off Pennsylvania Avenue.
What could be a major development in the search for missing Alabama teenager.
Tonight, a stunning twist in the search for Taylor.
Somebody out there knows something.
They want to lay him to rest their way, not by somebody else's way.